Greetings and welcome. So many people are waking up these days to concepts like soul, higher vibrational living, or living in 5D, or ascension. And there's so much theory and speculation out there. And some people even think it's something that's esoteric and not really achievable, when in fact, not only are these states and these higher realms and higher dimensional ways of living in an embodied way doable. That's what this video does, as well as two other videos. And you can consider these almost like a sequence of videos, like a 3-part series that are essentially masterclasses, immersive masterclasses where I, Hasadegi, bring you all, visionary leaders, ascending leaders, those of you that are spiritually gifted, these practical immersive teachings that don't have the bells and whistles. And what I make up for is raw and practical and immersive teachings, so you can experience, not only understand and grasp the theories, you can experience them firsthand. So if you haven't already, I'll put in the comments and description section the 2 prior videos. The first one, living in 5D or living a high vibe life, and the second one, how to connect with the soul and live in higher vibrations. Today, you're going to get to experience this 3rd part, which is really a deeper dive into the ascension sciences, covering some very misunderstood topics such as activations, what are ascension symptoms, and very real, what the wisdom teachings used to talk about more and more, cutting edge, leading edge sciences that I bring you on this channel are starting to understand that there are levels or stages or initiations to ascension. So we cover a lot of that. You get to experience it. So don't take my word for it. Thousands of people have already started to learn from me at these events. So without further ado, I look forward to you experiencing this and diving in to understanding even more how to practically and in a very embodied way experience ascension. So let's dive in, shall we? Welcome everybody, greetings and welcome. Welcome to another virtual live, essentially a masterclass offered to you all. I'm Hasadegi. Join me in dropping in, taking a moment in silence to really drop in, open to what is present for you wherever you're joining me from around the world. Centering in our hearts, hands on heart, breathing through the nostrils, filling the diaphragm and stomach on the exhale, inhale, and on the exhale, contracting, opening, centering, and arriving more and more. As people join us and arrive from around the world, let's drop in, attune to ourselves in this virtual space, this ascension and soul topic today, very high vibe. We'll approach it through a very practical lens. Allowing your breath to guide you deeper, being present with whatever is there in your mind, in your thoughts, in your nervous system. Being present with whatever is there in your heart, in your emotions, and in the heart space. All that biochemistry of emotion. A lot of it's stored and trapped for many of us. So let's drop in, also feeling into the body, the organs, the hardware, all the way down even to the DNA for those that are able to, depending on where you're at. Allowing yourself to drop in more and more to the mind, the heart, the body, and the energy around and within you. Welcome everybody, welcome. Let's open our arms, shall we? Open our arms to this experience we're about to have together. Myself as your teacher, your guide, and you as the teachers, students, let's say, also teachers in your own right, wherever you're joining me from around the world and wherever you're at, open up. The higher dimensions. The higher dimensions are an interesting place. How are you all? I'm gonna warm us up with the topic, with this notion of, I used to be a Marvel comic book geek, let's call it. And I used to get into the mythos. And now with Marvel Comics being one with this conglomerate known as Disney, we get to see a lot of interesting things from primitive as well as to high vibe stuff. So I don't know if those of you that are joining already are familiar with this show. It's a cartoon. It's called What If? And they released the 3rd season. And I was, for those that didn't join a couple weeks ago, I was really ill, had some spinal and body work I've been doing last year, 2024, that culminated with another round of this proverbial bioweapon virus. And so I was watching this show. So I don't know if it was my raw state. I have to go back and take a look at it. And the last 2 episodes of this 3rd season of the show, and What If is basically in the 70s and 80s, Marvel created a show that was exploring all these hypotheticals across what's known as the multiverse. And it's laced with subtle things. Back then they had occultists, Stan Lee, Jack Kirby. Some of the people that created comics are very interesting people. So I say this to say the last 2 episodes, they went into the mythos of the higher dimensions, and the heroes have to literally go to the 5th dimension where these watcher councils in the ancient sciences, they used to call them the logos. There's different names for this. There are watchers, like in the Old Testament Dead Sea Scrolls. Those are more Nephilim and the giants, etc. For now, follow along with me. So the heroes had to actually bring an android and all this, and I'll spare you. Now, what's fascinating is, as I was watching this, it didn't get very much love as far as ratings. And my theory is the collective is still in a very low state. As far as what we're going to talk about today, this concept of ascension, we haven't really rised up that much. So I think it's too multidimensional and too complex. So real quick, I wanted to focus on this to warm us up, this notion of the higher dimensions. And they talk about it. The heroes have to go get this android Ultron, and Ultron is very advanced. He can get us to the 5th dimension, and he speaks very much like the ancient masters, and some of these bodhisattvas probably do, very like we and objective and equanimous, and speaks to, with the heroes, how they have to rise up in frequency and how jarring it was, and it took them forever, and a whole episode of figuring out the technologies of what it means to both understand the energy of the soul, how it interplays with our software and hardware within, the inner systems of what makes us human, as well as how does one actually go up to the higher realms, the celestial realms? How does one actually ascend or raise their light quotient? So very fascinating concept. Didn't mean to get too much into it. And it literally, it covers how they have to change the technology, and their biology has to be upgraded, up-leveled to handle the jolt and voltage of these higher dimensional and higher vibrational energies. So it's a fascinating one, because today we're going to dance around this concept that I've taught before, and today we're going to get into some of my notes that I've been very eager, and we haven't really had a chance in these other times I've talked about this concept of ascension, the soul. So that's some interesting things we're going to talk about today when we get into what are the symptoms, what does it look like when we up level, some stuff that's both from my client work, my own personal research, being a spiritual scientist, as well as all the expertise and training I have. And I don't find this information is out there as much, at least not consolidated this way. So it's going to be a real treat for you all, and an opportunity, as always, not to only theorize, to drop in and actually get a chance to experience what it's like to connect with the soul. What does it mean to have density? What is this notion of priming or preparing? And we'll do warm up around that, getting our systems ready, as this Marvel show kind of shows us. We've got to get our systems primed and really attuned for these higher energetic metabolisms that we're going to talk about today. What is ascension?
What is it? What does it actually mean to do it and to be in these higher frequencies? Then we're going to connect with our soul. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about activations, energy, symptoms. Very beautiful topic that's going to dovetail a topic we're going to get into in a couple of weeks, activating your spiritual gifts. Because those are, as when we get here, some of you know this, some of you are going to be new to this, wherever you're at, welcome. Whether you're a beginner or you're more advanced, I cover the gambit and break down and demystify a lot of this stuff for people across the board. So whenever you're at with this is going to be really fascinating. And then we're going to get into actually drawing in ascension energies. We'll come back. And then we'll get into some of the notes I showed you. This notion of when you go on the journey, these levels of consciousness, these seals of ascension, these stages or dimensions or levels of heaven, so to speak, the higher realms. There's an actual science to the stuff. There's an actual mechanism. There's an actual breakdown. We'll look at it through both the ancient wisdom teachings as well as the modern spiritual sciences. And then we're going to actually go there. Let's close our eyes, take a moment to feel all these rising of vibrations we're going to practice and explore. Let's drop into the opening of space, the intention setting, the consecration through invocation. And we practice what we preach here in the school of Hasawaska, the Hassam school of wizardry. We practice what we preach. Intention is very powerful. If you don't know how to set it, we'll do it together. Invocation, the power of word and ritual, the third component. Where our intention and attention goes, the energy flows, and we can certainly take a space, whether it be virtual or not, like the lighting of this candle, to symbolize the sacred and divine fires of the ascension energies. One aspect of that, the ascension flame. So the candle representing those energies that now, as I speak to them, class, beautiful brothers and sisters, as we drop into this opening of space, we realize that as we speak it, so shall it be, so will it be. So these divine energies from above, known as the celestial, known as the divine, known as the higher vibrational realms of light and sound. And now science puts it on a spiral of vibration with love and gratitude at the top. All of that good juju and beautiful vibrational things that we are describing here now, they are above us, and we call them into this space with the lighting of this candle more and more, allowing the divine, the God that is the multiversal intelligence, the absolute source, different names for this true one energy, the light, and us, the lights that came and emanate like rays and dragon beams coming out of it. We as the lesser lights coming back to that home eventually above us. We're going to experience it today. So welcome, allowing those energies, calling them in, these ascension vibrations. And as we do that, I invite each of you to say out loud, I call all parts of me back to me now, feeling like a reverse explosion, all parts of your mind, heart, body, and energy bodies coming back to you now. And even more so when you feel ready and complete with that first command, and have felt into it and allowed it and willed it so. Then say, I become one with my higher self. I let my higher self guide me. I let my higher self and team of divine guides to modulate the energies that Haas has already called down and will continue to call down, and that you will be a part of and already are a part of. Allow these words to do their work. Connect with your higher self and ask your higher self and team of guides not only to guide us and be my co-pilot, to also modulate. That word modulate is a technical word. It means to configure, to change, to adapt, to literally shift the energies as is appropriate. Some of you can handle really high vibrations right now. Some of you may be beginning on the journey, have more healing. So allow us, as we call these energies down from above, these energies we're going to work with and then travel up to, in the last practice today, the journey component, allow them to modulate with this invocation and opening of the sacred space and this consecration. Allow yourself to call parts of you back to you now, connecting with your higher self and allowing and asking your higher self to really allow all these energies to come in easefully, optimally, gracefully, and maximally for the highest good of all concerned, the most benevolent outcomes, the greatest impact, so you can have the breakthroughs in these lives that are donation-based, that are gifted to you, tithed to you, so you all can experience this, so you all can see the practical impacts. Calling that down and then shifting your focus to below you, the earthly and terrestrial energies. The earthly and terrestrial energies, the earth itself has a frequency and a grid. There's also the lower kingdoms of our animal brothers and sisters, our plant brothers and sisters, and the mineral brothers and sisters of the terrestrial energies below us. We also call them up so that our work today may be rooted, grounded, so we may be embodied, so we don't only intellectualize and do mental masturbation, so that you can feel your soul, connect with it unlike ever before in the highest good of all concerned, and allow you, when we do the work more and deeper as we go, and higher as we raise in vibration, so that you may actually be able to integrate and implement and carry these practices, carry these breakthroughs and transformations forward. Presence into that, folks, more and more feeling above and below you, feeling the energies within you that we called in, your higher self, all parts of you back to you now, maybe drawing your hands in prayer pose or on your heart, in front of your chest, feeling the energies above, below, the earthly below, the terrestrial below, the divine and heavenly and celestial above, and the spirit within us, the container and cauldron within us, where we're going to mix heaven on earth, where we're going to mix father and mother, where we're going to mix sky and earth, all different archetypes and mythos. Before we come back to the room and open our eyes, let's breathe in. Let's breathe into this container, and I want you to set your intention now as you breathe. What is your intention for being here? If you want to learn, what will that look like when you have learned and gained the practical impact of the wisdom? If you want to heal and raise in vibration, which requires letting go of density and healing, what would that look like from this ascension journey? If you want to experience greater ascension, let's say you're joining as a teacher or more advanced or a regular, it's been with me for now the 3-4 years that I've been doing these guided experiences, these immersive masterclasses. What is your intention? Mine, I'll set this tone. Mine, as I breathe into the container we've opened, the consecration and invocation of the sacred space for the work and deep immersion is to inspire you, to show you the inspiritos, the spirit and divine holy energies that are available to you at your fingertips, so that you may be encouraged to use them and empowered to know how to. What is your intention? Bring it into one word, one essence, if you can. Boil it down to healing, learning, and feel into the mind, heart, body, and energy bodies. As you breathe in and out. Coming back to the room. Coming back to the room. Coming back to the space. Coming back to the here and now. The soul. What is this hologenetic body, this energetic body, this program right here? I say it right here. Oh, wait, no, did I not grab that? I did. Boom. 4 systems. If you've never heard me speak about this before, real quick. 4 systems. Today, we're going to focus on the soul, aka the energy. It's the program. So we're going to get into what it is, the soul, how the soul gets damaged. We get fragmented, this concept of density. Then we're going to get into a priming exercise and prepare our software, the mind and heart, the software, as well as the biophysical, the meat suit, the hardware, these lower 3 systems. And all 4 of these make you, okay? And we're going to then experience how to prime them. Priming is a technical word, means to open, attune, to get them ready to configure them. I'm using Ben's word, it's been said in the chat. And then we're going to come back, debrief some more, experience what is ascension. What does that mean? That word ascension is thrown around a lot more, has a technical meaning, the who, what, where, when, and why. Then we're going to come back and we're going to experience the soul connection, another exercise. We're going to come back and experience activations. What does that mean? Some more teaching and learning. Then the blue energy activation, and so on and so forth. I'll bring this back up as we unfold today. So the soul Soul. Who's with me? Let me know how you're feeling. Let me know how you're following, how you're tracking, how that warm-up was. Calling in those energies, that invocation, the ritualist that I am. Soul. What's a soul? Speak soul to me, baby. What's a soul? Well, it says program right here. I said the word hologenetic body. Hologenetic body. The genetic, the DNA, casts also like a router, this light body, hologenetic body, aka energy body, aka energetic blueprint, divine blueprint. Different names mechanically, only we're going to experience in a few moments, only after we do the priming, what it is to connect with the soul. Let's actually start to understand more than conceptually, be able to go, oh, okay, I feel like more connected to it than only understanding it. Well, when I say that, how does that feel to you? What's your experience with that? And look, I've been doing this for, full-time about a decade now, going into the 10th year since I left my practice, left corporate and all this, and went full-time and et cetera, et cetera. Before that, it was another decade or probably 15 years of Vipassana, and I was always immersed in the healing arts and energy practices, etc. So I, being as advanced as I was even on the last couple of years, struggled with feeling the soul, sensing the soul. And we're going to talk about this on February 1st, activating your spiritual gifts. We all have access to declare gifts, different extrasensory pathways. It's not only the 5 physical senses. Some of us being more sensitive, more extrasensory, more highly sensitive can do more. For now, even if you're highly sensitive, extrasensory, intuitive, even if you're a teacher, it can still be a challenge to actually get a grasp on what it is to actually connect with this understanding of the soul, right? This biofield, this notion of, this hologenetic body. So I'm curious if you've connected with it. What is your experience of it? It's going to be very subjective when we start talking about this. For instance, when I first started this stuff, I would get a light tingly sensation when I was connecting with my soul, my hologenetic body, my program, this blueprint, divine blueprint's another term for it. You'll hear in the spiritual sciences and the soul sciences. It would be a tingling sensation. So it would be firstly, my mind, my body would notice. Over time, I started to then sense more intuitively and through my inner sight colors. I'd see like subtle images of my higher self, a practice we're going to do today, and some have done with me before. This notion of calling down your higher self, connecting with the representation, right? So this higher self is a synonym. So this representation of the soul, we call the higher self. So the universe communicates in symbols and archetypes and geometries and math. And so we see like our inner child is one archetype. So our higher self is like, sometimes we see it as an angel. So over time, I started to see the energy being like a ball. That was my higher self. So as you up level, as you do more of these practices, as you devote yourself and you discipline yourself and you start to develop more, to go beyond healing into mastery, into the real ascension work of raising your vibration consistently and sustainably, I will say your experience of what a soul is transforms and transcends. Mine has. So I'm curious as we drop in and check in with this teaching around, well, what is the soul? Right? So if you understand it and can experience it and more personally, not only intellectually understand it, actually viscerally and more at a very embodied and presence into it level, you can then understand these other couple of concepts we're going to unpack in a moment of soul loss, fragmentation, taking on density, this word density, right? So if this soul is light, and I start to see it as light and energy beams and different colors and hues, that vibrational medicine and energy medicine explains it as such, I'm curious, what has been your experience and personal, and again, depending on where you're at in your journey, some of you are going to have very minimal experience. Some of you, like me, may have an evolved experience. It started off this way. So for now, let's say for the basis of teaching, setting our framework up, hologenetic body, our DNA, as is up, so is below. The biofield is interconnected. Hologenetic body is interconnected. The DNA here is what connects with the program, hence hologenetic, genetic, hologram. It's literally the light body is like if the Wi-Fi were the DNA and it shot it out. All right, starting to get more, maybe you're new to all of this. Wherever you're at, let me know how this is landing. as we start to break it down. And this is the circuitry. This is those energy pathways that, whether it's traditional Chinese medicine and the meridians and acupuncture and all that, or whether it be Vedic medicine, the energy systems of the central channel, the chakras, there's endocrine system, from various prisms, you can see the universal truth around this. This is coded. This is coded. I showed you the wrong picture. Sorry. This is the picture I meant to show you. This is coded down here. This is coded down here. So what's your experience? And whether it be with the higher self, with the soul, with your personal experience of it, this is for you. This is in service to you all as leaders that are on various parts of the journey. So soul loss, taking on the density. So the soul is pure light. The soul is pure light and sound energy. It's pure energy. It's the program. And then it's encased in the mind through the neurosynapses. It fires. Then the biochemistry, we get the heart. That's the software of the mind and the heart. And then by the time you get to the biological, the biophysical, the DNA is stored in every cell. That's what's really doing the work at the body level, okay? All of this circuitry, this image, this divine blueprint of the body, right, is representative of the divine soul blueprint of the soul. As is up, so is below. That's what that meaning of that saying is. Let me know if you're tracking. So when we get to this concept of what is density, if your soul is pure light, what do we have to do? Right? I mean, that's when you get really advanced, you start to ask these more complex questions of yourself, and you start to go, wait a second, if I'm naturally light, why do I have to go back to the light? Shouldn't I be able to go, boop, I'm back to that which I am? Not quite, because in our journeys down here, in our journeys to come to the 3D, to these lower realms, to these earthly realms, we took on density. We lowered in vibration. We descended. Some of us have different types of souls. Some of us are older souls. Some of us are gifted and are not necessarily older souls. We look like older souls because we're very gifted. We're waking up and we're like, holy cow, what's happening? We're kind of like superheroes, like in those movies where you see your skills coming online. And some of you in the chat have already started to speak to what we're going to unpack today. So when we talk about density, we're talking about soul loss, dimming your light, lowering your frequency. And this word that I want you to memorize today, light quotient. It's literally in the Ascension sciences. That is the word we're playing with. That is the mechanics of the amount of soul you can bring in. Once you do ascension work, your mind up levels. We're going to talk about how and what that looks like and experience it as we unpack later in the live. Your mind changes. It becomes more expansive. Your neurosynapses, a lot of you, depending on if you took the vaccines and blah, 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 and all that, a lot of you have comprehension stuff. Quite a lot of people I work with. And some of you then say, oh, I have encephalitis and brain trauma. That too. I literally had a BMW slam into me when I was 2 months old. I crawled off of a balcony and I had brain trauma and all this craniosacral. I've been up doing all that, undoing and healing. And so I've had it all. I've been the guinea pig, as many of you have heard me say this. So the mind and heart start to shift. You start to feel more. You start to have different biochemistry. And certainly your body will start to pepper in. Very integrative in how I teach, as you can tell if you're new to me. Welcome. This notion of what we're going to talk about later when we get to the actual mechanics of ascension, hummingbirds. Hummingbirds are an archetype because what happens when you bring all this light in and raise your light quotient, your metabolics change, the ability to process ATP. If you remember your photosynthesis and all these different ways we metabolize at the sub-mitochondrial and the DNA and the cellular level, which is what makes all this work at the hardware. And it's correlated to the software and it's all run by the soul. The more of your light you bring in, the more your metabolism changes, the more you can operate at higher frequencies, which is why ancient masters, mystics, some in the last century, like Yogananda, we were gifted to hear from him as a spiritual scientist. And he used to say, if you're a yogi and you're a master, you don't really need to sleep much. You don't. Because your biochemistry, your neurosynapses, your biophysical hardware, all of it has more light quotient online. So you have more connection to your soul. That's why you can't teach ascension without talking about the soul. Because you're essentially bringing in more soul is what raises your light quotient. You with me so far? You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know this. It helps that I happen to have studied rocket science. So this notion of more soul in the body, more soul in the mind and heart, more ascension frequencies brings healing, because then you undo all the stuff you've taken on, all the density, all the traumas, all the heart constrictions, all the heart armoring, all the limiting beliefs, all the I'm a piece of shit, all the inner child traumas and didn't get the praise you needed, all the dis-ease, whether it be chronic as an adult, stress, blah, blah. All of that shit starts to come out because you've taken it on as density for various reasons, because that's your soul curriculum, your dharma, your schooling here, blah, 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 blah. And so then from a harmonics perspective, so we're talking about light. Who's a sound person? Okay, now I'll switch to phonons. We're talking about photons. Let's talk about light and then sound. From a sound perspective, I can also teach this. Instead of being all smooth and like a harp, having your natural harmonics and natural flow and resonance and beat and rhythm and soul resonance, each of us sounds like a harp when we're natural. That's why the angels, when they sing, it's very, because that's only the way to look at this through harmonics or phonons, is we become denatured, we become dissonant. And then when you go to a heart math institute, when you start to track your breath, whether it be through an iPhone app or something, you start to see, wait a second, Haas has a point. My EKG, my EEG, my app that started to look at my brain patterns when I meditate, it went from like this to more harmonious. My heart rhythm went like this to more coherent. So from a sound perspective, because we're both light and sound, you take on more light or you take on more pure resonance, pure harmonics, you stop being denatured. That's another word to write down and take forth with you. So either you look at it as denatured and your sound has become dissonant and you're no longer flowing, or you become dense and you've taken on darkness, shadow work. And so you need to heal and raise either way you slice it. This work is what we're speaking about today, what we're unpacking. And in the shamanic and the energy healing and psychic surgery, soul surgery, they call it soul retrieval work. They call it different words, different things. The mechanics are essentially the same, as you can tell, as I'm weaving it all together for you all, and understanding that the density, the denaturing, the darkness, the descent is all part of what we signed up for. It impacts us at a cellular biological DNA level. It impacts us as our mind, subconsciously, unconsciously. It impacts our heart and all the emotions and things that our body is stored. And it certainly impacts our calling, our fulfillment, how connected we feel. So that's what is the soul? What is your experience of soul? And you catch up with the chat. And now this notion of density. And it's not as easy as it looks, both in terms of understanding it, then experiencing it, which is why my lives are structured in a way where we're about to get into priming, preparing, attuning. They're structured in a way as we unfold and get deeper into this outline, so that you can really feel the vibrations. You can really go up there. You can really practically, viscerally, and leading edge ways learn how to do this. And then understand that it's not a one and done. Multidimensional healing is another thing we're talking about. Is this notion of there are so many aspects of the shit we have to clear out at the mind, heart, and body. And so what I teach is essentially the quickest route there. So let's kind of get into it a little bit more, catch up with the chat, and then get into these practices and unfold and unpack it more and more. Depending on where you're at and your proclivity. Some souls are more older souls. Some are spiritual prodigies and rapidly waking up. They look the same. Or some are normal souls. There's flavors of souls and the soul's evolution. All right? Yeah, sowing seeds. Follow along. Let Johnny and Hasi seed, plant some seeds. And I assure you they're going to sprout. I'm going to make sure they sprout. And I'm going to water them and nurture them throughout the next hour and a half together. So, who's ready to prime and attune? Because you're consciously a little bit like starting to process and digest at the mind level, at the heart level, you're tuning in, the body's settling in more, energies are attuning with the invocation we already did. Let's actually prepare the three inner systems of the mind, heart, and body, aka the mental mind, the heart mind, and the body intelligence or the gut brain. Wait, Haas is saying science stuff that's also been validated and affirmed and confirmed by the modern scientists. Correct. That's the Great Awakening. That's the collective ascension. So priming and attuning is what we're about to do. It's very important that you follow along with these practices as we build them out, because you'll get the best results and the biggest, let's say, thorough and integrated impact, okay? So, if you don't know, now you know. Hasi's gonna teach you how to prime and attune so you can take that ascension flow. And here we go. So you're gonna close your eyes. You're gonna get situated. You're gonna bring your hands to your heart and stomach. You're gonna breathe through your nostrils. You're gonna fill your diaphragm on the inhale and let your stomach and chest expand out. Through your nostrils, you breathe. Then as you exhale, you contract. You let your chest and your stomach come towards your spine and let the exhale out. Inhale and exhale. Opening more and more to what is present in the mind, in the heart, in the body. Centering on your hands, allowing your breath to anchor you and bring you into the present more and more. Hands on heart and stomach, breathing through the nostrils, using the diaphragm. Inhale, fill. Exhale, contract. Opening, centering, and arriving more and more, gathering all parts of yourself from the past, thoughts of the future, energies of being in the future, gathering all parts of yourself to the here and now, presencing, dropping into the moment that is, the energy that is, the mind that is, the heart that is, and the body that is. This is what is. Rub your chest and stomach a bit as you deepen your breath, allowing your mind to drop into your heart. This is me. If I say any commands, I invite you to say them out loud. This is me. I am safe. It's safe to be in my body. It's safe to be here now. Sometimes we need this permission. Sometimes, as simple and as silly as it may feel or sound, we need to give ourselves this permission to anchor, open, and center more and more. Dropping the mind. Maybe you're noticing, like I am, that your brow is tense, so you drop your mind more and more with every inhale. Feeling your mind in your body, feeling your focus, awareness, and attention more and more deeply into your body and awareness. Releasing any tension in the head, in the jaw, in the neck, in the shoulders. Allowing all this mental energy to drop down. Inhale, expand. Exhale, allow the belly to contract and the chest to empty. On the next inhale and exhale, I want you to continue to focus on the chest and your hands and your breath. And also bring your intention and attention to the center of your head, in the middle of your head, known as the mind center. Some people associate this specifically with the third eye center. It's more than that. There's a lot of stuff here. For now, we're going to make it one big ball, the center of your head, your mind center. As you breathe in and out, feeling your hand on your stomach and heart, feeling your chest and abdomen and diaphragm expand on the inhale, using your nostrils, and contract, noticing your breath as well as feeling into your breath in the center of your head, doing both. Arriving at your head, feeling your breath as if you're pulsing. And as you inhale, feel this mind center coming alive. As you exhale, feel it relaxing. Inhale and exhale into the mind center, the center of the head. Maybe it's like a ball of energy or light, and with every inhale, it gets bigger. With every exhale, allowing it to exhale and contract. I open my mind with every inhale, allowing that command as you say it and will it to take hold, feeling this energy center, this mind opening, whatever that looks like, feels like. I open my mind center with every inhale. Maybe it's the top of your head feels like it's opening and getting more expansive, like a balloon. Maybe it's like the top of your head is like a valve in the middle of your head and all of it is opening. Maybe it's like the blossoming of a flower. Whatever visual helps to deepen into this priming and opening of the mind with every inhale and exhale. And on the next exhale, drop down like an elevator shaft, drop down the middle of your being, feeling all this mental energy going back down again into your heart, arriving at one of your hands on your heart. So we arrive at the second of the main three gates or centers, the heart center. Literally where your physical heart is where this center sits. Arriving with the inhale and exhale, feeling your mind opened, feeling it breathing in rhythm. Now all of your focus, attention arriving at the center of your chest, at the heart center. Every inhale and exhale going deeper into this physical and energetic space, feeling the physical front and back and sides of the heart, as well as the energetic space of the heart. I open my heart with every inhale, like we did with the mind center above, noticing this heart center like a ball of energy. With every inhale, feeling it getting bigger and glowing more. With every exhale, feel it relaxing and contracting. More and more, your heart center coming alive and opening. With every inhale, with every exhale, contracting, letting go and relaxing. And as you say the command, I open my heart center, with every inhale, feel, sense, and notice your heart opening more and more. What does it feel like to feel your heart physically, your chest relaxing, the back of your shoulders relaxing? Maybe like the window opening and feeling your energetic heart opening more expansively with every inhale, opening your heart more and more. As you inhale and exhale, focusing on the heart, notice that your mind and heart are breathing in unison. And on the next exhale, dropping down to the last of the three main centers where your hand is on your stomach, middle of your abdomen. Feeling your mind, your heart, and now all of your intention and attention arriving at your gut, your power centers, another name for this. Feeling the front and the back relaxing as you inhale and exhale. Noticing like the other two above, maybe a ball of energy or light glowing and growing with every inhale, with every exhale, allowing it to contract and relax. Every breath in and out, your power center opening on every inhale and coming more alive. With every exhale, relaxing the physical stomach and lower back, as well as opening the energy of this power center. Breathing in, opening your power center with every inhale. Exhale, relaxing it. Maybe you notice, like we did above, it's opening up like a valve, as well as opening up physically and expanding both energetically and physically this center with every inhale and exhale. Noticing your mind, heart, and power center breathing in unison. And on the next exhale, I want you to open your eyes, wiggle your fingers and toes, noticing the rhythms continuing as you come back to this room and this physical space and this virtual event. Also, continuing to carry forth the coherence of the mind opening and attuning to the heart opening and attuning, and the power center opening, and all three breathing in coherence, bringing this meditative, primed and attuned state more into this reality, more into this here and now. Let's talk about ascension real quick, and I'll weave this topic of activation symptoms in after we do the soul connection. So ascension, light quotient, raising of our vibration, raising of our light and sound frequencies, raising of our mind, heart, body, upgrading, up-leveling. There's a mechanics we're going to talk about in a few minutes. And as we do that, we raise our vibe, we embody more soul, we embody more of our essence, more of our higher vibrational state. These lower systems upgrade, bada bing, bada boom, and you start to have this integration happen. And in the ancient times, like I said, they called this different raising of vibration, different states and levels, and you'd arrive at these levels of bliss or enlightenment, or illumination, or samadhi is what the ancient famous Indian name is. I want to reach samadhi, or you do DMT and plant medicine, you go into samadhi. Well, these are all very real things that you can do without the plant medicine if you know how to multidimensionally integrate and process and uptake this energy. So the enhancing of the light quotient is the definition of ascension. The enhancing of your light quotient, or the raising of your light, they come down to the same mechanism. How much light are you taking into your body? How much light have you absorbed into your mind and integrated? That's the other key word, integrated, which means it's been actually infused. It's allowed to transform your neurosynapses, your thought space and all that, your hearts, your body. So the enhancing of the light quotient is what these ancient sciences used to describe. Yeshua was another ancient mystic. Jesus actually was describing and was an avatar for ascension. And he would talk about this notion of our inner light, tapping into our inner light, and then using that inner light and these miracles and more, ye all shall do, right? We may not walk on water. We're going to do what the ancient Indians said were siddhis. When we get into activations, siddhis are extrasensory pathways. You don't have to be highly sensitive, intuitive, psychic, an old soul, or a gifted soul. You could be a newbie, muggly soul and still have access to these activations, because all of us have been ordained by source, by God, by multiversal intelligence with these pathways. And that's what ascension is. When you raise your light quotient, when you enhance it, you up level all of these things, all sorts of stuff starts to happen. You start with healing, garbage in, garbage out, biophysical releases, mental clearings. You start to have more expansive mind, all things we're going to flush out more technically today when we get into this concept of the stages and what to expect at these stages. Okay, who's with me? So you raise your frequency, your DNA actually changes. Who's heard of the science around this? Junk DNA, scientists used to call it junk DNA. It's dormant, it's dark. Now they're like, that's not junk, that's shit that hasn't been churned on, that hasn't been activated. To take from dormant to active, from churned off to churned on. Well, why would it be churned on if God gave it to me? Well, because you descended and you took on density. So you came down to go back up. Some of us came down to help to then go back up. Some of us are going back up. Depends on the nature of your soul's journey. For now, understand that the mechanics of this, people misunderstand, take for granted, don't appreciate, are like spiritual sciences. Get the heck out of here. You're too technical. Okay, fine. Do that and then have a fun time being unconscious and going through all this, because this is why I teach this. Because there's only one way without going through pain, shit ton of money, tons of sacrifice. You're still going to have to sacrifice and some money. I'm saying the hard way is clunky. In math, they say the hypotenuse is the quickest, most efficient way, so you don't have to take all these detours. That's what I'm saying. I'm not telling you have to read this like gospel. What I am about to show you even more is I would recommend you follow this to the letter of the law, because you have very little wiggle room as you start to do these things, because most people, we've been living outside of our norm, outside of nature. We're living in industrial ways that we haven't ever been wired to. And so we have to reconnect to subtle fields of awareness, recondition and primer. That's why so many people already had releases, and we haven't even done the energy activation we're going to do in a couple practices. We're right now going to do a soul connection. That's why people are already like, whoa, we haven't even brought in these ascension energies. We haven't even gone up, which will be the last practice. Now imagine what that's going to bring you. That's how low the vibration of the planet currently is. Some of you have heard me say that. Some of the planet is in very dark places, and most of us, because we're all interconnected. So we're currently coming out of a very great awakening, and that's even what the Indians called it, right? Kali Durga is another chapter that we're entering, with the ancient Vedic Indian mystics used to call it. The Mayans had another name for it, et cetera, et cetera. DNA upgrades means a couple of things. One, then there's stages to this. We're going to break this down. I'm going to actually These are the 4 pages of notes we still have to get through, and we still have a lot to do. That's going to be the majority of what I want to focus on for the next hour, as well as the practices. But great question. DNA upgrades, the first stage of it, and as you raise in frequency, go through these stages, there's different levels of it. The first stage of DNA is taking the junk DNA, turning it on. The stuff that's off, turning it on. So we have to first make a healing at the DNA level happen. Then we get into the mastery phase. Let's call it the second phase of mastery. A couple of these middle levels that we'll talk about. Then you start to deal with the DNA is turned on, the potential has been activated, all the default settings are back online, and you're now actually learning how to use your online potential, extrasensory pathways, your cities, because this DNA coming online when you're at the mastery stage is where a lot of people stumble or find their way to me or back to me if they've already started to work with me, because that's where you start to go, my DNA is actually, that's pure activation. You're allowing your DNA to step into what some people out there, and I'll be creating a recording around this too, you start to weave in more levels of your DNA. You'll have more strands of your DNA that you can use, and then you'll grow your DNA. So your DNA actually upgrades, up levels. It allows more metabolics to come in. All right, let me know how that's landing. So enhancing your light quotient, the simplest way to break this down, to put it in a bow, is the hardware up levels. That's the DNA question. The DNA activates. Your biochemistry up levels. You can hold more tolerance. We'll break these down even more precisely in a few minutes. Your mind has more ability to hold greater thoughts, more multidimensional, expansive thinking. And then you have more soul, light, and sound in your body. So yes, these higher faculties, extrasensory capacities, your extrasensory gifts, your spiritual gifts come online. So the DNA activation corresponds with that. Make sense? Dormant and centers coming online. And ascension symptoms that we're going to talk about when we go through what to expect on the journey are extreme releases is one type, or your pathways coming online so quickly that it's bewildering and you're like, how do I make sense of this? So for instance, tinnitus isn't always tinnitus. It's an ascension symptom, which comes from those that hear a lot and their hearing is coming online. And so they'll hear pitches and don't know what the heck is happening. So that's one ascension symptom to give you a flavor of what we're going to cover. Who's with me so far? Who's ready to actually connect with the soul, come back, debrief, and then actually do some ascension invocation, bring in these higher vibrational energies. Then we'll talk about the journey, the levels, what it looks like at these levels, a lot of meaty notes, proprietary information from the genius and master teacher that is us. And then we'll do the journey. We'll come back, we'll wrap up, self-care tips, integration, where to go, what to do. And then I'll say I love you all and release you as we close space from my bosom. How's that sound? How y'all feeling out there? Everybody close your eyes. Get comfortable, get cozy. Let's close our eyes and raise our vibes and go within. Activated charcoal and other ways of detoxing certainly will help. Foreign bodies in. Even if it's not a virus, ask it, why are you here, mold? So that's not part of the practice. Seeing the last comment before I close my eyes. So letting out an exhale. We've learned a lot already in an hour and a half. We've experienced some practices already, opening of space, the priming of the mind, heart, body, and getting more coherent and open and activated. And now we're going to drop in and connect with the higher self, aka the soul. We're going to experience this light body in a more visceral and more intentional and direct way. Some of you have done this with me, so even if you have, allow it. You'll receive higher transmissions. So let out another exhale. Relaxing the mind, the heart, the body, going back into this open, centered, and aware state. Resuming your breaths through your nostrils, filling your diaphragm on the inhale. On the exhale, contracting, letting your belly release, your chest release. Feeling your mind opening and relaxing, your heart opening and relaxing, your power center opening and relaxing. Feeling and sensing yourself. If you're seated or lying down, do your best to visualize yourself as if you're looking down at yourself from above, a few inches above. Noticing yourself sitting, watching the live, experiencing the live with your eyes closed, and then see yourself in this state observing yourself from above in this state, going deeper and opening, centering and arriving, allowing every inhale and exhale to deepen you. Dropping in more and more. Inhale and exhale. One hand on your stomach, one hand on your heart. Inhale, feel yourself dropping in more and more, noticing what you look like, what it feels like to observe yourself from above your body, and then slowly come back into the body, drop your mind into the heart, and feel deeper levels of awareness within you with every inhale and exhale. And as you see yourself, sense yourself, feel yourself, and deeply embody with every inhale and exhale, I want you to see the center of your heart glowing. And if it's not glowing, ask it to glow. Say, hey heart, I invite you to glow. And with every inhale and exhale, let this glow grow and expand. With every inhale and exhale, feeling your heart opening and glowing and growing more expansive. Feeling your mind and heart and power center in cohesion. And saying out loud, I call forth my higher self. I call forth my higher self. And as we said already, the higher self is the archetype, is literally the holographic interface of what your soul looks like to you. So you can call it your soul, your higher self, your super consciousness. Say out loud, I call my higher self to take form in front of me. We have to invite it in with our free will, aligning with that divine will. As you notice yourself breathing, hands on heart and stomach, your heart glowing with every breath more and more, saying out loud, I choose for my higher self to take form in front of me. Visualizing it in your mind's eye, as you're deep within, allowing, intending, and attention, drawing it more and more on the area in front of you as you ask, invite, and will your higher self to take form. For the beginners, it may be hard to see or sense anything. Some of you may see it as a ball of energy or a color or a haze. Depending on where you're at, continue to follow my guidance and allow the process to unfold. Some of you may actually see a light body or an energetic body, various things that people see as this representation, this archetype of the higher self, of the soul, your greater being and essence, the true you that transcends this physical being, takes shape more and more in front of you in your mind's eye. And on the next inhale, see the center of your heart growing like a root of a flower or like an umbilical cord. See a stream of light coming out of your heart with every inhale and exhale. Feel it growing more and more out of your heart and towards where this being is, towards where this higher self and this representation of your soul is standing or sitting in front of you. As you inhale, feel this cord of light growing out of your heart, beaming towards the center of the chest of your higher self. Inhale, feel it growing out towards your higher self. Feel it connecting with the chest and heart of your higher self, the divine heart. And as you inhale and exhale, give life force and pulse life force with your breath. Inhale and feel a sense of light energy flowing from you to your higher self through this cord of light and through this connection. And as you exhale, feel it beaming back to you. Inhale, giving more and more life force with your breath to this connection with your higher self. Exhale, feeling your higher self beaming back to you more and more. Inhale, feeling the connection with your higher self more and more. Exhale, feel your higher self responding with a breath pulse back through this cord of light. And when you feel the connection with this part of you, this higher self, this soul is complete, as in it's formulated, say to it, we are now in connection. Greet it and say hello to it more formally, like you would an old friend. Say hello to it, greet it, and say to it, we are now in connection. I'm ready to communicate with you. And as you say those words, let it transmit to you, depending on where you're at on your journey and your practices. Some of you may feel vibrations, see energy. Some of you may actually have a dialogue. Some of you may get energetic gifts or transmissions. Different things may happen or none of it. Continue to allow, deepen in the practice, feeling the connection through your heart to your soul's heart, to this higher self. Life force back and forth. We are now in connection. I choose to communicate with you and allow the transmissions of energies. Every inhale and exhale, receiving and communicating more and more. What are you noticing? What are you feeling? What are you seeing or hearing or sensing? Allow it all. Be aware in an open and receptive state. Being grateful for this opportunity to deepen the connection, deepen this cord of light, this seke, this morphogenic field and direct transmission with your higher self. Allowing the transmission deeper and deeper. Allowing the energies to bathe into your mind, into your heart, into your cells and biology, and into your energy systems within and around you. Thanking them more and more, saying to them, I will be back. I can continue this at any time, and telling them, I'll be back. I thank you. We will continue this even if there's more to be done. Saying to them that you're grateful, maybe giving them a hug, feeling this connection between you and them more formally, more fully, more from a visceral embodied level. Thanking them on the next inhale and exhale, and as you do, feel them absorbing into you, much like a cartoon or a video game. Feel them absorbing into you. Inhale and exhale. I am one with my higher self. Feeling the energies going into your mind, into your heart, into your body and energy bodies. And on the next inhale and exhale, coming back to the room, rubbing your heart and your stomach, coming back to the room, coming back to the room, coming back to this live. Taking a moment, see how you feel. Connecting with the soul. We're going to combine a little bit of this for the sake of time. We have 2 more practices to go. An energy activation of actually being in ascension energies, and then actually going up to the higher realms, which we'll talk about. And then I really want to unpack this. So it's going to take a few minutes. So let's take a moment, see how you feel. Realms, science is only now starting to understand. I started an hour and a half ago with this analogy through the cartoon What If from Marvel, this notion of the 5th dimension, higher dimensions, being a higher dimensional being like a watcher in that cartoon. And these realms, very real realms, when we actually go there in the journey, okay, you can only live in fully once you're ascended at a level that is superhuman, which is like what Jesus technically did, right? And as I said earlier, there's an example in the Muslim culture of Prophet Muhammad having a pilgrimage up on the back of Gabriel, who's an angel, right? A carrier of God's energy. And as he goes through these levels, it's actually written in their biblical text that he first saw Moses at one level of heaven, and then he saw Jesus. So there's actual levels of ascension. We've talked about this in other lives. I have some videos. I'll make some announcements on where you can go. There's actual levels of ascension. And in ancient traditions and wisdom teachings, the Buddhist, the Taoist, the Indian, the Muslims, the Christian mystics, they all had different mythos, archetypes to explain this, and it's universally explained in a way that goes like David Hawkins is a modern scientist and doctor who's explained it in the levels of consciousness. They're all explaining the same thing, these ascents through these higher levels. Now, once you get to a certain level, you're no longer in physical form, you become otherworldly. That's when you can actually, not have to astral dream in a meditated state or do yoga nidra to then do lucid dreaming. You can literally leave your body because you're online. That's this light body activation and all this that you heard about in the zeitgeist and in your spiritual journey and on Insight Timer from various teachers, I'm sure. Who's with me? So the higher realms are a place that we can only travel to in our mind, heart, and we can take our bodies up there and absorb the energies. That's this energy activation practice before we actually go up there. For the most part, to actually have the hardware online, to actually be able to live up there, you have to be almost like a demigod. That's why these prophets were so otherworldly and were so trippy, because they were like, what is life? What is sex? What does money mean? Right? Because they're operating at a level where their soul is so embedded in their hardware. Their DNA is so online that they're literally, right? What did they see? The guy died allegedly, and then he came out with a light body and he was resurrected. So another name for ascension, another aspect of ascension is resurrecting your soul, bringing more of your soul online. And it's very real, and it has very, very real symptoms. So let's actually go bring some of the energies down, do the energy ascension activation. Then I'll talk about the symptoms, and then we'll go to the home stretch, do a mini journey up to the celestial or the higher realms for an activation. For those that are, let's say, not teachers or very, very advanced, we actually did an invocation where we said this energy is going to modulate through your higher self so you receive it the way you're meant to. If you feel you need to slow down, always trust your inner guidance. Yeah, you're not going to go sideways. That's fear, because you're being guided by a very divinely guided guide. So let's all step back in to the drawbridge. Let's open the drawbridge and go back in. It's safe. Let's go back in. May the Alpha and the Omega and the divine source, your team of guides, your higher self, continue to guide you, guard you, and protect you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go deeper within as we do this ascension activation, which is a fancy way of saying drawing in, drawing in, drawing in, drawing in. And to do that, we're going to go back in, put our hand on our heart and stomach, breathing through our nose, using our diaphragm and chest and lower abdomen. And to the extent we can, we inhale, filling, exhale, contracting. Saying out loud, I call parts of me back within. I connect with my higher self. Feeling the priming we did of the mind, heart, and body. Feeling the openness of the mind, heart, and power center, the relaxed, open, and expansive state with your hands on your heart and stomach, breathing. Feeling and noticing the connection to your soul and higher self through your heart. Feeling it all in the sacredness of the space we started an hour and a half ago by opening, feeling all that reactivated and invocated. As we speak to it, so shall it be. As you breathe in and out, feel your mind in your heart, relaxing the mind, feeling your heart and power center and mind, breathing in unison. Inhale, fill. Exhale, contract and empty. Mind open and in tune with the heart, heart open and in tune with the power center. All three of the main power, heart and mind gates open and in tune. One hand on stomach, one hand on heart. Really being embodied, really feeling your receptivity, reactivating your intention. If you weren't here at the beginning, setting it now retroactively. Time is not linear. Filling your torso. And on the next inhale, I want you to create a cycle with your breath. As you inhale, you're going to inhale through the hand on your stomach and feel the breath travel up as you inhale, up to the hand on your heart. And as you exhale, you're going to feel the energy go down out of your hand on your heart, down, back down to your stomach. Feeling your inhale coming up from the stomach to the heart. And then as you exhale, feeling the energy going back down to the stomach from the heart, creating an orbit or a cycle with your breath, with one hand on your stomach, one hand on your heart. Inhale up. Exhale, let the energy drain back down. Inhale, breathing up, connecting these two main gates. Exhale, draining and dropping, embodying and deepening more and more. Inhale, exhale. Continuing this breath cycle as we go into this practice, allowing yourself to maintain this breath cycle. Inhale from the hand on your stomach up to the heart. Exhale from the hand on your heart down to the stomach. So we go deeper and deeper into this energy practice. Inhale up, exhale down. As you continue these breath cycles, I want you to draw your awareness and focus and intention all the way up to the top of your head, all the way up to the top of your head at the very top and crown portion of our head, feeling both your hands on your heart and stomach, your breath cycling back and forth in your torso, as well as your awareness and attention at the top of your head. And as you feel your breath cycling, feel the top of your head opening, this crown center opening more and more. This is the valve or the gateway that actually allows the energies that we're going to bring in to flow in. This is the gateway or the mechanism or the valve, as I said, that they flow in. So as we concentrate both on the breath cycle, inhale up from the stomach to the heart, exhale down, feeling this valve at the crown opening. Every inhale and exhale of that breath cycle, I open my crown center more and more. Maybe saying that command and letting it do its work, literally opening your crown center more and more. Continuing to trust my guidance, going deeper and deeper, and allow. And above that are all these higher realms and celestial dimensions that we've spoken to, that we ascend higher and higher over time as a soul. And in a moment, we're going to call down specific energies to flow into this valve. I want you to feel and sense the valve opening more and more as you drop your awareness back down to your heart and stomach, continuing to breathe, knowing this valve is now open. And in a moment, you're going to feel and sense and follow my guidance as we call down specific energies. You don't have to understand what they are. Trust the guidance and let this divine magic unfold. Feeling this crown open, your heart and stomach breathing in unison. Inhale up, exhale down. We call down now in the highest good of all concerned, modulated appropriately for us all, individually and collectively. We call down the ascension flame, breathing in through the crown, breathing into the torso, allowing this breath cycle to breathe it into your body, mind, and heart. A flame known as the ascension flame. It is a 3-color flame of green, blue, and pink. Feeling this flame, this 3-color flame coming into the crown, bathing the mind, going into the heart, bathing the heart, going into the body and power center, bathing the power center. And as you breathe between the hand on your stomach and heart, inhale and exhale, feeling this energy being drawn in through the crown, this ascension flame, this divine energy, specific hue and vibration of energy coming into you more and more. Let the breath mix it as if the ascension flame is coming into your breath, and your inhales up and down. Continue to breathe and bathe it deeper and deeper. Inhale, allowing these energies to come in more and more. Exhale, allowing them to melt into you at deeper and deeper levels, into your biology, into your biochemistry and emotions, into your mind and nervous system and brain matter, into all aspects of you, more and more the ascension flame. And now we call down the rainbow rays, some call it the rainbow bridge energies, different names for this full spectrum of light that covers the entire colors of all vibrations of the rainbow as we feel and breathe that in intentionally into the crown, allowing it to melt into us, into the mind, heart, body, feeling the breath cycle, drawing it in more and more, bathing it in more and more, these rainbow vibrations coming into every aspect of you more and more, all the way down to the tips of your toes, top of your head, coming down, beaming all the way through you, your biology, your emotions, your thoughts and mental, and your energetic, all aspects of you being bathed by this rainbow rays, in addition to the ascension flame. Breathing up, exhaling down, feeling these energies merging with the breath, bathing deeper, integrating and soaking them up with every breath. And then lastly, we call down the divine energies of the diamond fire. This diamond energy that's high velocity and a very protective energy. It's very good for shielding and protection, and feeling that energy coming in with our command and volition and intention through the crown, coming down into the breath cycle, bathing into the mind, heart, body, and energy bodies. This diamond fire adding to the rainbow rays, adding to the ascension flame. Breathing, bathing in these energies, allowing the diamond fire to come in more and more. Breathing up from the hand on the stomach up to the hand on the heart. Exhale down, feeling these energies penetrating, integrating, and being soaked up, being uptaken by the mind, the mindscape, the neurosynapses, entire nervous system, and the physical mind. See it being soaked up and integrated into the heart, the emotions, the biochemistry, physical and emotional and energetic heart. Feel it going into the organs, every part of your physical, all your systems biophysically, all the way down to the cells and DNA, receiving the ascension flame, the rainbow rays, and the diamond fire, all divinely called down, modulated and configured appropriately for each of us and all of us. And allow these energies also to bathe our energy systems within and around us, more and more allowing our light quotient to raise intentionally, as is appropriate for the highest good of all, for the most benevolent outcomes. On the next inhale and exhale, I want you to breathe in and out. Breathing in and out and saying out loud, I integrate and ground these energies easefully. I ground and integrate these energies easefully. I ground and integrate these energies easefully. At every level, there's 7 levels of heaven, 7 levels of ascension, 7 seals of ascension that happens to match the 7 chakras. And then we're going to go there and some notes on self-care, integration, follow-up. So let's kind of ground this out. Let's round this out. Ascension symptoms. You hear it a lot. You see it. You all are probably experiencing it being in this live. And you certainly, if you've been following me for 3 years, you've been having ascension symptoms, been around me as an ascension teacher. So what they look like in general, and as I said, there's 2 categories or 2 buckets I put them in. One is your symptoms are related to you detoxing, clearing out very rapidly, backups of stuff in your emotions, in your mind, in your body. And I've had all of them. I've had extreme releases, extreme purges. And then the other facet of it, which is very common on Insight Timer and in my audience and amongst you all, is you're misfiring. You have extrasensory gifts, spiritual gifts. You're a more gifted soul. You're HSP. You're intuitive, or since childhood, this was suppressed. And then it's coming online really quickly, and you're like, holy shit, what do I do? Upside down real quick. So the dormant potential comes online really quickly. So here's the flavor of it, and then we'll get into the precision. You feel a lot? Well, no, Huss, that's everybody. Well, no, you feel a lot. Like at any moment, your sensitivity becomes so, you literally, earlier, one of you asked, don't we all, I think it was Julie, if I'm not mistaken, don't we feel the collective? Well, yes, you'll feel it even more. You'll be even more in tune because you're radar of the heart has up-leveled. Your old life certainly is going to disintegrate. Everybody around the world, the old is disintegrating. Well, those that are early adopters and consider yourself an early adopter, your old life's gonna, what you used to do for fun, what you used to enjoy because your mind is up leveled, your heart's up leveled. So a lot of us think these are wrong. We start to go, something's wrong with me. I'm feeling more. Something's wrong with me. I don't like the things I used to like. Oh, something's wrong with me. There's a shift in my old self. I can sense and I have a deeper sense of awareness suddenly. I can't have superficial conversations. Or you start to have misfirings. You start to get headaches, a lot of mental energy, too much concentrated in the neurosynapses. Or you have foggy memory, or you can't sleep because you're really active. All par for the course, because you have to start looking at yourself as a machine that has a hardware, a software, and then and because you're working on bringing more of the program, more of the light quotient up, raising the harmony, raising the vibration, restoring all that, what's going to end up happening is all of these systems are going to start doing different things. And we're starting to unpack more and more what those different things look like. For some of you, you'll literally see things that were always there and be like, was this always here? I gave you an example in one of these lives a while back of literally a painting that was in my brother's office. I'd been in for at least 10 years. And all of a sudden, after an activation, not being there for not even a few weeks, it wasn't like I hadn't been there for a few years. I mean, yeah, we go, oh, has this always been here? I haven't been here in a few years. All of a sudden, they're like, no, this painting's always been here. Your consciousness shifts to start to see, much like you feel more, you'll see more. And then you start to get into the paranormal. You start to have paranormal. Some of you, for instance, reported Reiki took me into the state where I felt like I was high. Somebody who worked with me literally said that I had a Reiki practitioner a year later work on me, and it wasn't like any Reiki I'd ever received. They'd received Reiki before. So that's the general, what Ascension starts to look at. Shall we go deeper into it? Shall we? Shall we get even more precise and mechanical and engineering, which is the geek in me? I have 4 pages of notes. We shall get through them because a lot of them are lists of symptoms and what they look like. Let me spread them out. Let me spread myself out. Oh yeah, let me spread these notes out. Oh, I'm gonna get there, baby. Oh yeah. All right, so in case you didn't know, here are the 7 levels of heaven, aka the Ascension Bridge, aka the Antakarana, hell. This is where the collective currently is. The next to this, you'll see the abyss. There's even a below hell. These are tormented souls, lost souls, haunted souls. Some of you in my audience know who you are. You came from a legacy. Maybe you had ritual abuse. So our whole goal is to get on the bridge. Once you get on the bridge, you get to the level 1 of consciousness, level 1 of heaven, level 1 of the Ascension seals, different names for this raising of frequency. And each one of these, it's a level, a stage, or a seal, whatever you want to call it. Tomato, tomato. Birthing is the first one. So real quick, I'll do the overview for those that have never seen this before, heard this. Birthing is the overview. And then I'll explain what happens at birthing through these symptoms. Then we get into awakening. Then we get into transfiguration. These are kind of universal. Some people may have a little bit different. They may call this baptism. If you're very Christian mysticism, for instance, Jesus used to call it the baptism was the first. Hence why baptism of John the Baptist. Then you get to transfiguration. That's level 3. Remember the numbers. Level 4, you start to have a dark night of the soul. This is a very key one. Hence this asterisk here. When you start to get 4 and 5, you get into what's known as the arhatic seal. Your heart opens. You make choices. Am I going to stay here and be in service? Am I going to be mission oriented? Words you start to see in the executive space. Am I going to be a mission oriented, a mission driven executive, a mission driven founder? My calling is to be in service and blah, blah, blah. You start to take more vows. By this level, you are what is known as a bodhisattva. David Hawkins said literally in the last 100 years, we've only had a level 3, Jiddu Krishnamurti. He said that's the highest we've had. And David Hawkins wrote his book and did his thesis, Power versus Force, the levels of consciousness tested and mechanically described in a schematic. He's literally, up until 30 years ago, his theory was we've only had up until here. So what does this mean? Now let's start to put this into human speak, shall we? Start to put this into shit we all experience, pardon my French. So at the birthing level, what you generally start to find people have happen. You start to wake up. So let me know if, as we start to unpack this, where do you feel you may be? There's no right or wrong. There may be spiritual arrogance that gets triggered. We're going to dispel all of that. Level 4 isn't better than level 3. In fact, I sit at, this is what teachers have told me, 500 and 600 of oscillation. That's not fun. People that spend private time with me know I'm kind of annoying to deal with because I I live a very intentional and different type of a lifestyle. It's a little bit more high vibe, and there's a little bit more sensitivity in the space. So at level 1, birthing, here's what it's like. You're kind of like this. Whoa, what? Whoa. I did this breath work. What the heck? It changed my life. All of a sudden, I came to Haas's advanced psychic defense. Things were different the next day. So birthing is like literally the birthing of a baby. The connection of your soul. So let me start to put this into step-by steps. Where's that piece of paper, guys and gals? There it is. So here's what it starts to look like. At a physical level, at a heart and mind and soul level, at level 1. So your connection with your soul starts to be restored. So you start to get bouts of intuition. That's when you start to go, wait a second, I'm getting a sense here. I'm becoming more aware of the energy field. Your mind becomes more subtly in tune. You literally become aware of a greater reality. This is usually level 1 birthing stage. It's usually when your ego, you start to become aware of your ego. You're like, wait a second, I've been a little disconnected from my body. What's going on? Then you get to level 2. Level 2, this notion of dissolution. You start to dissolve more. Your heart and mind literally start to feel weird. You reset. This is when you start to have pineal gland activations. You start to have more gamma brain waves. You start to have more advanced states of brain activity. And then also at a biophysical level, your homeostasis. You start to get into, wow, I've never felt so calm, and my levels of energy are starting to stabilize. By level 2, you're starting to get deeper into biophysical healing. Your old emotions start to come out. You become even more aware of what a dickhead or a jerk or a bitch you used to be. I was that. I was like, oh man, I've been really insensitive. I've been really rude to be. Not like I was a bad dude. No, a lot of us are going to have different levels of this. For me, I was relatively numb. I was so insensitive compared to what I want to be now that I'm awakened at these higher levels. So by level 2, you start to have bouts of the dark night of the soul. Your mind and heart start to reset. Things start to get topsy-turvy. And then we get into the 3rd level. And what is it called again? For a refresh your memory, if you didn't see this chart thoroughly, transfiguration, transformation. This is when the real detoxing happens. You start to have real big bouts of high vibrational states. So you have a lot of highs and a lot of lows because your energy is starting to do this before it starts to settle and reach a cruising altitude at level 4. So you start to have a lot of bouts of mania and low. Fuck, oh, my life sucks. And the dark night of the soul really starts to kick in here. Hence why I started to say it's actually its own level. Some people say it's its own level. I personally experienced it, see it in clients here. So I'm going to slow down. So as you raise in vibration, you start to see patterns. Systems come online at higher levels, and then garbage comes out. Things go topsy-turvy, upside down. By the time you get to level 4 and 5, you have what's known as ego death. Proper ego death is, I know I have an ego. It doesn't really die. I'm taking it along with me to heaven. I'm now choosing that Haas isn't all that matters. You all matter too. That's what ego death actually means. It means the death of this individuated only person, that you start to rise above it and realize we're interconnected at a very visceral rate and level. And then by the time you get to 5, that's when I started to say there's paranormal. Your heart, mind, you start to see apparitions. You start to become very extraordinarily online, your higher faculties and functions. Because by this point, God doesn't give you the power until you are responsible with it. Who's with me so far? Who feels there? I mean, you don't have to put it in the chat. Who's starting to get some clarity on all this, especially if you're a regular student, or even if you're new to me, you've been doing this work for a while. Who's starting to be like, oh, this is making more sense, which is part of my job, is to make more sense of the inner work. So as you go up these different levels, you unpack different things. And then there's a whole nother, we won't have time for it today, there's a whole nother conversation of I've mentioned it a little bit, if you're a star seed, if you're an old soul, or if you're HSP, there's a correlation there. You're not a normal soul. You're going to have a different path. Those tend to be people that also come to me. I would say old souls, gifted souls are a big part of who you all are. All right. So the path is going to be looking different. And then there's like the traditional muggly soul, a regular soul path. All right. And the path to the higher realms, there's actual highways. These are real highways. What we're going to take, one is an inner highway through the heart. If you literally study and go deep enough, there's paths allegedly through these star systems of Andromeda or to Sirius or to these higher highways that take us to these higher realms for cosmic and multidimensional travel. So those are real too. So as you raise in vibration, we're only talking about to level 7 here. Once you get to level 7, you go into the higher realms, you become Christ-like. You go up here with your light body. You leave your physical body behind. That's why in the 5D, we're not going to be living in carbon-based as much. We're going to eventually raise in vibration. And this shift, at this level, this shit is theoretical. We're all talking like, yeah, one day. And this is prophesized in ancient tradition. So let me go a little bit deeper because I've got specific symptoms. Let me know if you want to hear them. If you don't, I'll shut up and we'll do this last practice. Some of you, I feel like, really want to hear this. Some of you are like, man. So I'm going to go through subsystems, each system at each level. So I'm going to start with let me go to the body first. So at the biophysical, if you're in hell, you're in chronic dis-ease and dysfunction. Your shit is messed up, pardon my French. You start to go to level 1, right? We're only talking about the body. Start to go to level 1. You start to birth. You begin easing up on your symptoms progressively. Your healing journey begins. You get to level 2, you start getting into deep healing, purging, dips and rebounds as your default settings come up line. You may have a repulsion to meat that starts around here. You may have really deep purgings. I had Herxheimer reaction. You get to level 3, you start to achieve healing or homeostasis or biorhythm comes online. Your physical starts to become a little bit more extrasensory. You open, by level 3 and 4, you open these channels and gates and extrasensory capacities. You start to hear things, see things. These spiritual gifts, these sadhus come online. This is when you start to have a shift in ATP production and mitochondrial efficiency. Your cell health, another way of saying it, your cell health is optimized. You become more of a conduit for light, energy. You can do miracle healing. You can bring in high dosages of energy. By level 4, your body starts to access higher levels of performance. Your heart rate variability goes up. Your CNS coherence goes up. By level 5, forget about it. Get the hell out of here. Level 5, you're superhuman. Your Haas levels. Does this guy even slow down? How much espresso did you have? Are you high right now? Where did you see that from? And so on and so forth. Now let's go to the heart. We've covered the hardware. Let's get to the heart and the mind as software. So the heart level. What's level 1 look like, Haas? Well, if you're at hell, your heart is armored. Your heart is closed. You're desensitized. You're in self-loathing. You're in low worth. As you start to get to level 1, you begin to cough a lot. No, I'm kidding. You begin to have your heart crack open. You begin to have a purging of deep emotions rise to the surface. You start to actually get a sense of what it feels like to actually feel normal in your heart, not to feel like a loathing piece of shit. When you get to level 2, you start to get emotional desensitization lessons. Have I always been this numb? Your empathy starts to kick in again. You begin to attune to subtle emotional granularity. You start to get a sense of remorse and shame and these deep things you've been carrying. Get to level 3. You start to have constant crying, emotional releases, not knowing why you're crying suddenly and so much. You start to have real deep purging of old charges, triggers, and toxic energies and biochemistries that have been suppressed and held at the deep cellular level, guilt, shame, remorse, to name a few. You have very deep emotional alchemy. By the time you get to level 4, your divine heart, what's known as your greater heart, aka your arhotic seal, comes online. You begin to attune to higher frequencies, which means you start to have more lovely senses of loving kindness. By level 5, you become literally more saint-like because you've made a choice to be what they called in the Buddhic bodhisattva, a server, somebody that says, I'm going to stick around and actually help you all get back the freak home. You with me so far? So that's only the heart. We're almost done, and then we'll do this last practice. The mind and the soul. So at a mind level, what is it like when you're in hell? Well, literally, your life's a nightmare. You're catastrophizing everything. You're paranoid. Everything's like, man, this always happens to me. Why do I always get kicked out of the lives? God, I can never get a break. Start to get to level 1, you start to get a sense of your ego, your limiting beliefs become more apparent and unearthed. You begin to see the world in a different sense. You go deeper in level 2, you regroove deeper limiting beliefs. You start to get a clear sense of, wow, I'm blocking myself with these disjunctives. You start to open your perspective up more to divine mind. Blue sky mind, as this Taoist called it. Whoa, greater expansive state of consciousness. Level 3, because you're more open, shit gets weird. That's my technical analysis. Your CNS can hold more bioelectromagnetic energy. Your pineal gland activates. You start to have higher capacities come online. That's when the ascension headaches can start. Your energy hygiene is key here, because at this level, there's no going back. By the time you choose level 4, and you actually can hold more multidimensional ideas, that's that Watcher analogy we started with 2 hours ago with Marvel Comics. You can actually start downloading intentionally for other people. You can start doing readings for other people, attuning to the divine mind. By level 5, you're literally manifesting Maria's question. You can I want my bank account to be more full, because you're going to be more in alignment. You can actually use your mind to create and sculpt reality. And then lastly, at the soul or energetic level, here's what it looks like, folks. When you're in hell, you're dysfunctional, you can't feel shit, you come to my lives, you don't feel anything, sense anything, you get butts and just, and you tell me you did something, I don't know what. You have poor energy performance, unnatural rhythm, your breathing's all over the place. Then you go to level 1, you begin to shift out of deeper senses of energy, you start to feel subtle vibrations a little bit. You get to level 2, you can start to feel even more. You have less sleep. Your sleep starts to get disturbed because you're more energetically sensitive. You begin to come back online, and by level 3, you start to have paranormal and extraordinary things happen because your siddhis, your extrasensory pathways, are now online. Your higher faculties that we all have access to as we do the work and raise in vibration. So the energy systems come online. You have the DNA activations. And so then you go to level 4, you choose, and then level 5, and you are in mastery. You're at advanced levels. You're most likely a teacher at this point. You're like, I can't, stand back anymore. And again, depending on how you choose, and there's levels of choice points, and I'm going very basic for the sake of everybody to grasp, understand, and isn't that scary? It's not only that theoretical, it's doable, it's possible. My magic carpet ride, God, Source, Absolute Source, your higher self team of guides are going to continue to guide us in this last module up there. So if you already haven't, then go within and close your eyes, kiddos. Put your hands on your heart and stomach. Returning back to that sacred and beautiful, loving juju space, knowing that this invocation continues to last through this space. It's a sacred and safe space. Feeling the energies around and within you, your hand on your heart and stomach, breathing through your nostrils, inhaling out, expanding, and then contracting on the exhale and relaxing. Feeling the mind, heart, and body still primed, still attuned, still open and expansive. Feeling that breath cycle that we started. Feeling the connection to our soul through our hearts, that warmth for some of you. And then feeling the remnants of those ascension energies that you can resume and reopen at any time through the gateway valve or the path or the portal of the crown. All of that what we've done so far, reminding us, reactivating, breathing. So we prepare to go there, go deeper, go higher, feel more of the truth of ascension. And in a moment, I want you to visualize yourself standing at a doorway. As you inhale through the hand on your heart up to your heart, exhale down, concentrate on your heart in your mind's eye. Feel into your heart, the center and locus, the middle of your being. See yourself standing at the doorway of your heart now, the doorway of your heart. This doorway opens on its own as you breathe in and out, as you step in and walk through this doorway of the heart, deeper within, dropping deeper in awareness, your mind slowing to 4 beats per minute, your heart leading the way as you walk through this doorway deeper and deeper, seeing a stairway of light that is beaming upwards as you walk onto this stairway, past the doorway of your heart, deeper into your being, stepping onto this stairway of light that is going all the way up You can see it beaming all the way up through the stars, the stairway through your heart doorway, all the way to the higher realms. Take a moment at the bottom of this staircase of light before you step onto it, before we ascend onto it. Breathing, inhale, feeling the energy come up to your heart, exhale down, maintaining the breath cycle as we start to ascend and we step onto the stairway of divine light. With every breath we take, we step higher and higher onto it. We feel lighter and lighter with every step we take, with every breath we take, noticing that our body is ascending with our minds, hearts, and energy systems. All aspects of us as we walk higher and higher on this stairway of light, higher and higher as we ascend above the earth, above your residence, seeing, noticing, and feeling yourself getting lighter, feeling more and more safe in these higher realms, passing up past the moon and stars as we go even above what our eyes have ever seen, as we walk higher and higher, noticing more and more with every inhale and exhale, going higher and higher, feeling lighter and lighter, until you see at the top of this staircase that you're arriving at more and more is truly at such a high, divine, celestial realm that you allow yourself to take a moment as you walk off the staircase of light into this divine realm, taking a moment to breathe in and assimilate to this plane of existence, to this higher dimensional realm that we have traveled to consciously and willfully. Breathing, inhale up, exhale down, taking a moment to breathe and assimilate to this dimension. As you look around, what do you see around you? Maybe you have a sense of hearing, or hear things, or sense things. Feel and notice what it is that's present for you in this higher plane, for this higher dimensional realm. As you assimilate to it, what are you seeing yourself standing in? Maybe it's a nature scene, or maybe are you in a building? Taking a moment more and more to acclimate and deepen your awareness to this higher realm of consciousness, this higher realm of vibration. It's very real, and we're basking in and immersed in more and more. Inhale and exhale, seeing yourself immersed. When you feel ready and you feel comfortable in these energies, take another few feet further, walking a bit further. And ahead of you, you see your higher self, this soul that we connected with that's been waiting up here, its true home and source point. And behind that, you walk up and see your higher self. And behind that, you see your team of guides that have been waiting. Maybe you can see them clearly. Maybe it's only energies or sensations. Noticing more and more yourself standing in the presence of your higher self or soul and your team of divine guides at this higher realm. Greet them. They've been waiting for you, ready to give you this ascension activation. Breathing, feeling the energies pulsing from your hand on your stomach up to your heart, and exhale back down. Feeling yourself both in your body and up in this divine plane in your mind's eye. Connecting and communicating with your soul, being guided by your divine team of guides. Tell them, I'm ready, I'm open. What is it that I need to see or do that I'm ready to act upon? Whatever your intention was, maybe it's healing energy you'd like. Allow that to happen and that transmission and communication to unfold. Maybe it's clarity on next steps, what to do next in your life for the next chapter. If so, allow, intend, and communicate for that transmission to unfold. As you continue to breathe, be present with what is happening and what they're offering you. Whatever your intention, allow it to unfold. Allow them to beam into you, to communicate with you. You may be seeing things, hearing things. They may be giving you energy pulses or actual artifacts or energy relics. Or maybe there's nothing happening. Whatever's happening, continue to breathe and allow yourself. Whatever is meant to be in the highest good of all concerned will happen. Feeling your higher self, team of guides supporting, giving you this transmission, communicating. Knowing you can come back here even if it needs more time. All you need to do is intend and choose. As you continue to breathe in and out, I want you to feel these energies, whatever they're giving you and offering you. I want you to continue to breathe and intentionally soak them up, what we call integrate them into your mind. Feel these energies, this transmission, whatever they're offering you, going into your mind, to your nervous system, into your physical mind, and then neurosynapses and the nervous system as a whole. Breathing, inhale, up, exhale down, through the breath cycle, allowing these energies of this activation to integrate into the mind. Allow that energy to integrate into the heart, the physical heart, the biochemistry of your emotional landscape and energetic heart. Breathing it in, integrating it in. Allow it to go into the body, DNA, cells, and all the aspects of the hardware, every breath in and out, integrating these energies, this transmission, this activation. Feel it integrating into the energies within you and around you. As they continue to do this activation, I want you to see yourself now looking down from this celestial realm, looking down, and all the way down, you can see the earth all the way down below. And let's take a moment now to allow these energies that we're being given in this fully activated state. Let's allow and take a moment to bless the planet and all the beings with these divine energies and higher vibrations. As you breathe in the energies that you're being offered through your higher self and divine guides, see divine energies flowing into you and beaming out of you like rays of divine energy out through your hands and heart, beaming down all the way down, traveling to the earth from our current realm that we're standing in, this higher realm. Feeling these energies intentionally beaming down to the earth, allowing these energies to bathe the earth and all beings. May all beings find peace through all the environmental challenges and emergencies happening all around the world. May all beings find peace. May we find unity through all the international conflicts and ethnic wars. May this world know peace and all the beings know peace and unity and harmony. May we all know justice and equality through all the poverty and economic strife that all beings are experiencing in different ways. Allowing these energies to bathe through you, pass through you, beaming down to the earth. May all beings know health and happiness with all the health and immunization challenges, whether natural or unnatural or man-made. Allow that health to restore within us and to all aspects of the planet and the beings. May we all know our oneness. So all the separation and isolation causing mental health challenges and irregularities. More and more seeing all of us, knowing how interconnected, how truly all one we are. One letter away from going from alone to all one. All these environmental challenges, wars and ethnic conflicts, all this poverty and economic strife, all the health and immunization challenges, all the separation and isolation, and so much more. May we all more and more choose to come back to a divine and natural way of being and living together. May we all know more and more how close we can be to heaven on earth. And as you finish bathing the planet, beaming it down, turn your focus back to your higher self and team of guides. And thank them all and yourself. Bow before them. Maybe give them a hug and an embrace, knowing you can come back here. Giving thanks to them and your higher self and team of guides. And walking back now, turning back and walking towards the staircase of divine light. Knowing you can come back here at any time. Walking down upon this staircase with every inhale and exhale you take. Grounding and coming back down to earth more and more. Back more and more to this reality construct. Coming down to the earthly realms here and now. And with every step you take closer to your body, coming down to the bottom of this divine staircase, grounding and integrating more and more. As you open your eyes, feeling your hands on your torso, integrating with this next inhale and exhale, allowing yourself to carry these energies with you as you not only move through your day, you move through your life. Inhale, exhale one more time, saying I ground and integrate these energies with ease. As we give thanks for the energies of your higher self, my higher self, your team of guides, the divine realms above for guiding us, guarding us, and inspiring us, your earthly energies for protecting us, holding us, and embracing us. Grounding and self-care. Let me know how you're feeling, any questions. You want to take it easy and let these energies settle. Remember, folks, you don't want to stir up the petri dish. A lot of energies come in, let the transformations take hold and the integration to happen. If you want to go back and communicate with your higher self, you can. Continue these communications that we started and immersed in. Spend time in nature to ground and grounding food. Using these tools that I talked about and creating intentional ways to integrate, as well as journaling your progress, making some effort to create this, bring this into your other practices and create more of a way of being. You want to continue high vibe practices, especially to stabilize your higher light quotient. We've raised your light quotient. A lot of you ride my coattails. You leave these lives feeling so wired. It'll only stick if you do what I'm saying, and some of you get the benefit of being in my field. So if to continue that, you want to continue high vibe practices, whether they be my tools to help you stabilize this new cruising altitude you're at, to further support you stabilizing and integrating. And then lastly, this is a go-to for everybody, restorative practices and rest. Manifestation is transformative, folks. You want to actually create the space and the environment and time and space for growth and for restoration to happen. And thank you for also being on the journey as a whole. This is a very vital and pivotal time. All right. I don't want to get into all the nutty stuff. There's a lot of conspiratorial things out there, and some of them are accurate. There's a lot of agendas out there, a lot of powers that be, and a lot of financial interests that aren't necessarily in the greater whole of the collective. That's why I'm all about ascending leaders. You all are here to be the leaders for tomorrow. And I'm all about bringing the heart and soul, the practical ways that you can equip yourselves. That is why this is an honor for me, because you let me live my dharma and my soul calling to be the power broker that I've been, so I can show you all, nurture you all, activate you all with a little kick in the butt occasionally, some tough divine love, so you all can also bring that power, reclaim it, vulnerably step into it, and together we can build this kooky thing that is a real thing that's birthing through more and more, the new earth. Peace and harmony is at our fingertips. So thank you all for being here. To everybody that is here, please do like, comment. So that's my spiel, and I'm sticking to it. I'm Haas Sadeghi. I don't do mic drops. I do gong drops. And this has certainly been one meaty, lovely, and high vibe live. And each of you should be proud of yourselves. I invite you to be proud of yourself for investing, being here, and I'll see you all soon.